the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, and the Jimmy Garoppolo's, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh.
Oh no, I can already tell you don't like the Raiders. Brinson?
No, it's not so much I don't like the Raiders. It's that I've sort of taken this stance against the Browns, and I'm kind of leaning into it and going to war with the city of Cleveland.
Good luck.
Browns fans have I'm the type of person where if you attack me, I'm not going to cave and allow you. And I'm speaking specifically to a fan base, but I mean, this can happen with like people in general too. I'm a very stubborn human being.
Well, Brinson, let me just say in your defense that like usually when you're being stubborn, it's because you don't make any sense and people are like, you have nothing to back this up. But in this case, Brinson is the one making the very reasonable argument and explaining why the Browns probably won't be good. And Browns fans are like, no, Brinson, we don't care about the past 30 years or the fact that we've had more losing seasons over the past decade than the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals combined. We're winning it all this year. So Brinson is just trying to give them a realistic point of view of their season. They're not buying it.
The phrase that I've been throwing out there that I've enjoyed, a three-toed sloth can count on one foot how many times the Browns have had a winning season since 1999. So, and that's three guys. The Browns fans came at me. I went on with our buddy Ken Carman, our pals Ken Carman and Anthony Lima on 92.3 The Fan. It was actually like hyped up to be like a all-out war where, and like Ken is a passionate guy. Like he's listened to the podcast. Awesome dude. He's been on the podcast. And at the end, it ended up being like a good discussion. My point is just like, people are so mad about 7-10 for the Browns. I mean, that's just not that crazy. Also, when you start making these predictions and projections about NFL teams before the season, like 7-10 is not that far off from 10-7. Does it feel far apart? Of course, because 7-10 is missing the playoffs. People get fired. 10-7 is contract extensions and postseason. There's a gulf in terms of how it's perceived, but in terms of the actual how you get to those two different results, 7-10 and 10-7 are not that different. I mean, you're talking like
especially
three bounces, as Kevin Costner likes to say in 10 Cup, a gust from the gods cost me. That's like all you need is like a gust of wind to blow a field goal to the right, a fumble that the other team recovers. The ball bounces straight out of the back of the end zone instead of going right, and it's the other team's ball. There's just football is a weird game played with an inflatable pig butt that's oblong shaped. Okay, so like when the ball bounces in funky ways, we shouldn't be surprised. And 7-10 is not like a miserable season, Browns fans. That being said.
You digress.
all of that bizarre rant aside, obviously I'm going to take the Broncos because one, you have Sean Payton.
Yep.
And that was the end of it. Two, that's the end of it. Sean Payton. I'm also going to take the Browns because I want Cleveland fans to leave me alone, and I'll let you defend your Raiders, Katie.
You want me to defend that? Well, first of all, yes, the Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's in Mike McDaniel's system, which he knows very well. They've gotten him some other weapons there. I think that the Raiders and Jimmy Garoppolo are going to surprise a lot of people if he could stay healthy. So I will definitely go Raiders, and I will go Broncos as well. Like you said, Sean Payton. And I do think we're going to see a little bit better from Russell Wilson this year. They've kind of beefed up the O-line there. Obviously, they spent all that money on Mike McGlinchey. So I will go Broncos after that absolute misery of a season they had last year. And, the Browns fans and I don't necessarily get along either. So
Breech, your Broncos, you picked to win the Super Bowl last year. Whoopsie. Plus 175. Pretty good value to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, first, I love that Katie mentioned if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy, mentioning it literally 2 hours after we find out that Jimmy Garoppolo had foot surgery and will not be taking part in OTAs and probably won't be on the field till training camp. So not only it's not can he stay healthy, it's can he even get healthy? He has to get healthy before he can stay healthy. This is just for me a process of elimination, and the Raiders are just the one team I'm throwing off this list. I don't think there's any way the Broncos and Raiders could both make the playoffs out of the AFC West. Maybe one of them, and obviously I have to pick one of them here. And I just feel like they made a lateral move at quarterback. They went 6-11 with Derek Carr. Garoppolo, yes, maybe a step up because you have Josh McDaniels, but you're not healthy. And even if you are a slight step up, maybe that gets you 1 or 2 more wins and you end up 7-10 or 8-9. I just don't think they can get to the playoffs. Totally agree with Brinson for some reason on the Broncos. I'm back on the Broncos bandwagon. Brinson, you love to rub it in all the time. I picked them to win Super Bowl last year. I'm going to stick my own face in the puddle and probably pick them to go far again because, like you, I do like them. I think Sean Payton's a great addition. If anyone can fix Russell Wilson, it's him. We've talked about that a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos here. And look, the Browns, to me, I know why Cleveland fans are mad.
You're really sticking your own face in the puddle here, Breech.
Well, the in the mud, it's like I'm swirling myself. That's what I'm doing here.
Ew.
But the Browns, look, I understand why Browns fans are upset with you because the team has a stacked roster, but you have an unknown quantity in Deshaun Watson. Like, you literally, look, Browns fans can sit here and say, oh, he's going to be awesome. He's going to return to the form he was in 2020, 3 years ago. Like, that is so long ago that it's been since he's been a good quarterback. You have no idea what he's going to look like on the field. And so, if he plays like he did in those final 6 games last season, the Browns aren't going to the playoffs. They're not winning that division. They're not going to be good. And so that's the thing you have to worry about if you're a fan in Cleveland. I think the Browns are one of those teams, one of the very few teams in the NFL that I could see winning the division or finishing in last place by 4 games. For this exercise, though, I'm going to say they make the playoffs. They're going to be one of my 2 teams here in this group. I'm going to take the Browns and the Broncos. I mean, I could see the Browns winning 11 or 12 games. I could see them going 6-11. I mean, that is just the giant window that the Browns have. But yeah, I'll take them for the playoffs here.
Katie, let's say that Russell Wilson and Jimmy Garoppolo got traded for each other. Just straight up deal. Don't worry about the ramifications of the salary cap space. But Jimmy G's a Bronco. Obviously, we know you will then be picking the Broncos to go to the playoffs. I'm wondering what you would do with the Raiders if they swapped out Jimmy G for Russell Wilson, knowing that, what would that, like, I'm sort of trying to strip away.
Yes.
I was trying to strip to an objective.
Well, I will say I picked the Broncos as well to make the playoffs. So I already had both of these teams going to the playoffs. But I like this question. Russell Wilson I will say yes to them as well, going to the playoffs for the Las Vegas Raiders, because I have
want to justify it want to justify picking it with Jimmy G.
Well, possibly, Brinson. But I just also have to believe that Russell Wilson is better than what we saw last season. I mean, that was absolutely atrocious play for him. Look, I'm a 49ers fan. We went up against Russell Wilson twice a year, every single year. I know how good he can be. And I do think that it was just a dud year for him. And I think he and, Hackett didn't hack it together. And I think that even under Josh McDaniels, he would do a lot better. Thank you. But he would do a lot better. So I think it's going to be a better year for Russell Wilson, whether he's in the Broncos or if we play hypothetical and he goes to the Raiders.
If you guys had to pick bigger upgrade, Nathaniel Hackett, ironically involved in both of these, Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton or Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers?
Ooh. Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, because Zach Wilson is not good.
Neither is Nathaniel Hackett.
Period.
Yeah,
not much else to say.
Because even if Sean Payton's a great coach, if he can't fix Russell Wilson, or if Russell Wilson's just broken, that it doesn't help your season. Season's done anyway.
Yeah, so, I think it's like it's probably Russ. I mean, probably Aaron. Excuse me. Probably Aaron, because Zach is that bad. But like, we have a baseline for Nathaniel Hackett, and it's what Russell Wilson did. Wow.
Yeah, he's
Josh Lurie calling that Russ gets worse this year, and the Broncos own the first round pick next year. That would be
wild.
Would be really interesting if Sean Payton and the Broncos had the first overall pick with Russ's contract that they can sort of kind of get out of, and Caleb Williams sitting there. But it would be very, very interesting.